In the hectic, bustling market of Ndogpassi, every day felt like a battle. On one particular morning, Clementine, a 31-year-old woman with a degree in business management but unemployed for nearly 4 years, had just one goal: to sell all her tomatoes before noon. The market buzzed with life, the vendors' shouts, car horns, and mingling aromas of ripe tomatoes, grilled fish, and cassava leaves created a lively symphony. Seated under her wobbling umbrella, Clementine carefully arranged her bright red tomatoes on a worn wooden table, her only possession and the symbol of years of effort. She'd been selling here for 3 whole years with unwavering patience. "Madam, your tomatoes look beautiful," a passerby complimented. Clementine offered a weary smile. "Thank you, dear. Take 2 kilos, I'll give you a good price." Suddenly, a sharp noise shattered the moment. A sleek, black 4x4 made a brutal turn right in front of her stall. Vanessa, a well-known elegant woman in the neighborhood, always confident and dripping with arrogance, was leaving after her shopping trip. Her car struck Clementine's fragile table, tomatoes spilled and crushed underfoot and behind stalls. "My table! My tomatoes!" Clementine cried as she ran after the vehicle. Vanessa ignored her, prepared to drive away. But the cries caught passers-by's attention, forcing her to stop abruptly and step out. Dressed in a tight-fitting dress and carrying a branded handbag, Vanessa exuded disdain and often criticized and looked down on the market vendors. Out of breath, Clementine pleaded, "Ma'am, you crushed my table. My tomatoes are ruined. Please look." Vanessa sized her up with contempt, then coldly sneered, "Do you think I have time for this? How much are your tomatoes worth? Want me to buy you a whole field too?" Without another word, she got back into her car and sped off, leaving destruction and a broken dignity behind. Clementine stood frozen, tears in her eyes, yet her pride intact. Passers-by stopped but no one dared speak. What neither Clementine nor Vanessa realized was that a well-dressed man, seated in a black car a few meters away, had witnessed everything. Minutes later, in the heart of the administrative district, the gleaming glass tower of Kamertek reflected the sun. In a spacious top-floor office, Alain Douala, founder of the company, stared out the window. He had said nothing yet, but the scene at the market haunted him, the look of scorn, the arrogant tone, and the young woman dignified yet holding back tears over her scattered tomatoes. Someone knocked. Vanessa entered, confident as always, with a smile and her bag placed carefully on a chair. "Where were you around 9 a.m. this morning?" Alain asked slowly. Caught off guard, Vanessa shrugged, "I passed through Ndogpassi market. There was a traffic jam, so I took a detour." "Did you get out of your car?" he pressed. "Yes, briefly. I parked and came straight here." "Is there a problem?" Alain calmly approached his desk. There was a woman, a vendor, with tomatoes spilled on the ground and her table overturned. You looked at her like she was nothing. You spoke to her as if she didn't exist. Do you think that's normal? Vanessa scoffed. That woman was yelling like she lost her mind over 3 tomatoes. I just told her to calm down. Frankly, I'm tired of scenes like this. Alain fixed her with a piercing gaze. So you treated her like she was nothing. But sir, she's just a market vendor. That's exactly why I'm asking. It's these small details that reveal who people truly are. I saw you, I was parked right behind you. A heavy silence filled the room. Vanessa paled, lowering her gaze. I didn't know. That's the problem. You didn't know, yet you allowed yourself to publicly humiliate a woman, as if she had no worth. I didn't mean to. The vehicle slipped. I'm stressed with the wedding preparations and work. I have no time for theatrics like this. Alain nodded slowly. Very well. You've made your choice. Vanessa narrowed her eyes. What do you mean? You're dismissed. I'm removing all your external representation responsibilities. She tried to protest, but Alan's gaze bore no negotiation. Wordlessly, she grabbed her bag and left. An hour later, in the lively streets of Ndogpassi, a black car slowed near Clementine's patched-up stall. Clementine cautiously tried to salvage what was left, her table barely standing, some tomatoes dusty and bruised. A well-dressed man approached calmly. "Good morning, Mississippi. I'm Alan Duala." Clementine looked startled at first. "Good morning, sir. I was parked behind the vehicle that hit your table this morning. I saw everything." She glanced away awkwardly. "It's all right, sir, I'm used to this." "Not acceptable," he said with sincere eyes. "I'm here to apologize. It wasn't me, but my employee. What she did was disgraceful." Clementine was speechless, deeply moved. Thank you." Tears welled in her eyes. Alan continued, "I want to make things right. Would you accept my help to replace your table and restock your tomatoes to restart your sales?" Surprised, she asked, "But why do this?" His smile was small but warm. "Because you deserve it. Because sometimes true wealth isn't in bank accounts. It's in how we treat others." In the following days, Clementine found new hope thanks to Alan's discreet help. Solid new tables, a better umbrella, and fresh tomatoes from a local supplier he arranged. What surprised her most was Alan's regular presence. Each afternoon, a sleek black car slowed nearby, and he would approach, dressed sharply, asking kindly about her day's sales. "Good morning. Sold well today?" "Somewhat. Thank you again." "It's not charity. It's justice." Clementine began to smile, to find her voice, and in her eyes, Alan saw a gentle strength and quiet pride. A light rarely found in the air-conditioned offices of his company. Meanwhile, Vanessa lived a very different reality. Since the incident, her atmosphere at work had soured. Colleagues avoided her, whispering behind her back. One day, furious, she stormed into Alan's office. "Why have you taken me off priority files? I feel sidelined and it's unfair," she complained. Alan responded calmly, "You said you had no time for details, Vanessa. So I removed those responsibilities. And while you're at it, think about what you really want, to be a woman with power, or one with value." Sheltered and vexed, Vanessa had only begun to face the consequences. One evening in a Bonapriso bar, Vanessa's fiancé Matthew talked quietly with a close friend, Alan Duala. "I know Vanessa is your choice, and I won't meddle in your personal affairs. But if you ever want to talk, I can tell you what I saw with my own eyes." Matthew frowned. "What do you mean?" Alan calmly drank his glass and said, "I saw her crush a vendor's stall, ignore and humiliate her. When I asked Vanessa to apologize, she refused." Shocked, Matthew leaned back. "So the rumors are true. I thought they were exaggerated." "Not exaggerated. Worse." Meanwhile, Vanessa's arrogance grew, but another, quieter woman rose with dignity. Alan fixed Matthew with intense eyes. "Marrying a woman is not about choosing an image, it's about character. You don't see the true face at parties or in photos, you see it in how they treat those who can't give them anything." Matthew listened closely. Alan added softly, "Don't rush love. Love isn't a jewel to show off. It's a presence that lifts or crushes. And you must decide what you want to build." The next morning, Vanessa adjusted her earrings before Matthew entered with a serious face. "Can we talk?" he asked without greeting. She paused. "What's wrong? You look tired." "Sitting," he said, "I spoke with Alan. He told me about what happened at the market." Vanessa rolled her eyes, again. "Everyone's exaggerating. I barely touched her table. She's just a tomato seller." Do you think I would kneel before her? That's the problem, Vanessa. It's not what you did, but what you've become. You've started to despise everyone, the waitresses, guards, vendors. You think the world owes you. Vanessa stood sharply. So now you judge me because I don't want to play Mother Teresa? No, but because you've forgotten respect. Because I no longer recognize the woman I loved. She frowned defensively. I work hard. I don't have time for market dramas. You just don't understand my priorities. No, you don't understand human value. You act like the world should bow to you. But what you did was the last straw. She looked stunned. Wait, are you saying you'll ruin everything because of a girl at the market? Slowly, he stood. I mean, I don't want to marry a woman who humiliates others. I didn't grow up with money. I don't want to build my life with someone who tramples others. You're not serious, she stammered. I am, he said firmly, setting his watch on the table. I'll come by tonight to collect my things. I hope you find someone who can handle your ego. He left. Vanessa was left alone, staring at her reflection, no longer recognizing the woman Alan had confronted. Meanwhile, Clementine felt a new change. Alan no longer passed by briefly, he stayed longer, asked about her day. One morning, while arranging tomatoes on her new table, he stopped with a bag of fruits. For you, he said, mangoes from the north sent by one of his farming partners. You spoil me, sir, she smiled shyly. Call me Alan, he said. He looked at the table, then at her. You've always sold here? No, she shook her head. Before, I was at another market. And before that, I was a student. Really? In what field? Business management. I graduated from the University of Douala. But after, no job. I applied everywhere, then one day I was hungry. So I chose tomatoes. At least they never let me down. A silence fell. Alan listened thoughtfully. Have you ever thought of going back to your field? She shrugged. Every day. But reality reminds me each morning I have no connections, no suits for interviews. He smiled. You might have more than you think. Clementine looked intrigued. Listen, if you agree, I'd like you to come to my office. Just a talk. Maybe there's a place for someone like you here. Thank you, Alan, she said, eyes wide. Very serious. I've been watching you. Your value goes far beyond tomatoes. She lowered her eyes, moved. Thank you. I'll come Monday at 10. That day, it was not a simple market table Clementine carefully prepared, but her dignity restored. This time, she wouldn't sell, she'd present herself. Monday morning, 9:52 sharp, Clementine stood before the glass doors of Camertech, a small dossier in hand. Wearing a clean shirt and simple black trousers, she'd never been inside such a modern office. Her heart raced, but within, a soft voice repeated, "You stole nothing. You belong here." The security guard greeted warmly, "You're here for your interview with Mr. Douala. He's waiting. Go to the 4th floor, last door on the left." She nodded, breathing deeply. Minutes later, she faced Alan in his bright, simple office. "Thank you for coming, Clementine. Please, sit." "Thank you for inviting me," she smiled timidly. He opened a notebook. "Officially, this is an interview. I'll play the role of the recruiter. You'll be the young graduate full of potential. Ready?" She smiled shyly. "Thank you. Yes." He began gently, "Why did you study business management?" "To understand how companies work, how to sell, manage, build. I dreamed of someday opening a small import-export business. But reality, it was unemployment, rent, and a sick mother back home." Alan took notes. You have a resume? She handed over a neat but simple file. He leafed through. Your internships are interesting. You were a managing assistant at a food wholesaler? Yes. I handled stock management and delivery slips. That's where you understood theory means nothing without discipline. He looked impressed. You speak better than many recent grads I meet. You're structured, calm, clear. Moved, she smiled. Selling at the market taught me to convince quickly. A pause, then Alan closed the folder. Clementine, I'll be direct. I want to hire you. She looked, heart pounding. Not out of pity, but because I sincerely believe you belong here. Are you sure? In a company like this? You've overcome more obstacles than half my managers, without arrogance, noise, but with a dignity no one gave you. She discreetly wiped tears. Thank you. Thank you so much. He extended his hand. Welcome to Camertech, Miss Clementine Nana. She shook it proudly. That day, she didn't just gain a job. She claimed her place in a world that had looked down on her for too long. The next Monday, 8:45 sharp, Clementine arrived at Camertech's headquarters, dressed simply with a neat handbag. Nervous like a child entering a great school, yet standing tall. Good morning, Miss Clementine. I'm Mireille, your HR contact. Follow me, I'll show you your desk. She started in logistics. Her small desk by the wall felt like a palace. Within the first week, everyone talked about her. She learned fast, reorganized schedules in 3 days, respected everyone, even the janitors. Quiet but efficient, her results spoke loudly. Alan often heard praise about her. One day, he quietly asked Mireille, honestly, how's the new hire? It's Clementine. If I had 10 like her, I'd sign them all. She understands, respects, works late sometimes, helps others, and never complains. Alan nodded. Thank you. That's all I needed to know. What he didn't say, he thought about her more than he showed. One Friday evening, when most had left, Alan found Clementine still scanning stock sheets. You're working late? She turned surprised, then smiled. There was a mistake in the delivery table. I wanted to fix it before Monday. He approached. You don't have to do so much. I know, but I'm grateful. When nothing's ever come easy, you don't take anything lightly. Alan was silent a moment, then said softly, sometimes I think you belong here more than some raised with the codes but without values. Touched, she lowered her eyes. Thank you, Mr. Douala. He smiled and said, don't forget to rest, too. But his heart was fuller than usual. That night, Alan realized his feelings had grown beyond professional admiration. Clementine wondered if his gaze had changed. 2 months passed. Clementine became a steady pillar in logistics, humble, effective, always smiling. One day, during a weekly meeting, Alan entered holding a file. Before we start, I want to honor someone. Eyes met, some whispered. A few weeks ago, a new colleague joined us. She didn't come from Yaoundé's campus or a business school, but from the Ndogpassi market. Since then, she's redefined commitment. Her name is Clementine Nana, and she deserves our respect. The room burst into applause. Blushing and trembling, she whispered, thank you. Taking a deep breath, she continued softly, I never dreamed of this moment. I wasn't born with privileges, but I learned to rise early, to smile through dust, and to believe every day could be a chance. Thank you to all who see the value beyond appearances and pasts. Emotions murmured through the room. Some nodded, others wiped quietly. Alan stood beside her, gently resting a hand on her shoulder. That's why she's here today. That evening, back at home, she received a call. Clementine? It's Alan. I'd like to have dinner tomorrow, out of the office, in peace. Her heart pounded. After a moment, she replied, with pleasure. The next day, they dined in a humble Bonamosadi restaurant. Nothing luxurious, but everything genuine. Alan listened as she spoke of her mother, her dreams of a small business, her fears. She had never known a moment like it, someone who listened without judgment. "You're truly different," he said at the end. "Different how?" "Authentic. And that's rare." Silence filled the room. He placed his hand on the table near hers. She didn't pull away. Meanwhile, Vanessa, bitter and haunted by her losses, learned Clementine worked at Camertech and that her ex-fiancé had cut ties completely. One morning, Vanessa appeared at the headquarters without an appointment. "I need to see Alan." "It's urgent," she demanded. The secretary replied, "Sorry, Mr. Douala does not receive without appointments. He is busy." Vanessa insisted, raising her voice almost. Alan did not come down. She realized the world had turned without her. Moments later, a guard politely asked her to follow him. Vanessa lowered her eyes and left with heavy steps and an even heavier heart. Weeks later, in the company's large conference room, Alan spoke, "I want to introduce my new personal assistant. She'll assist me on many internal projects and lead a program to help unemployed young graduates reintegrate into the workforce." He paused. "Her name is Nana Clementine. Today, I present her not only as a colleague but as the woman who changed my view of the world." Tears in her eyes, Clementine stepped forward amid applause. That day, the tomato seller became a role model and inspiration, a bright light. Across the room, Vanessa, now distant and alone, finally understood that what she had scorned was exactly what the world now admired. Months passed, and Clementine became more than an exemplary employee. She was now head of Camertech's internal social program, leading an initiative for youth employment. Her reputation grew, but she remained humble, simple, and genuine. Alan no longer hid his feelings. They came to work together, sometimes ate in the garden, exchanged knowing glances. The corridors began to buzz. "Have you seen how the boss looks at Clementine? Since she arrived, he smiles more. Do you think there's something there?" "I don't know, but honestly, if anyone deserves his heart, it's her." Clementine kept silent, focusing on her work, always graceful, though sometimes a shy light flickered in her eyes. One day, during a company ceremony, Alan took the microphone. "A year ago, I saw a woman publicly humiliated in a market. I saw cruelty that day but also dignity that has inspired me every day since." He turned to Clementine in the front row. "Today, I don't just want to be her boss, I want to be her life partner." He knelt gently, pulling out a small box. "Clementine Nana, will you marry me?" The room held its breath. Tears in her eyes, Clementine slowly rose. A whispered yes, with all my heart. Applause erupted. Some cried, others smiled. Weeks later, on a beautiful Saturday in a blooming garden in Douala, Clementine walked down the aisle in a simple yet stunning ivory dress, her mother from the village weeping tears of joy. Alan awaited her in cream-colored suit, eyes full of emotion. Former employees, colleagues, market neighbors, even clients from Ndokpasi gathered. As Clementine said, "I do," before God and man, the entire market seemed to applaud. The girl once called the Tomato Girl had become Madame Douala. The wife of a man who fell in love not with her appearance, but her soul. Meanwhile, Vanessa, now alone, slowly erased her past engagement photos. Clementine was writing a new chapter, one of respect, work, love, and justice restored. She never forgot where she came from. She continues to support market women, help youth find their voice, and always salute the calloused hands that once lifted her. She knows her life could have flipped that day if Alan Douala hadn't opened his eyes. if she had given in to anger. But she chose dignity. And he chose to reach out instead of turning away. Today, their story is more than a modern tale. It's proof that kindness, respect, and humility can still change lives. What if what we scorn today becomes what we admire tomorrow? Have you ever witnessed injustice? Share your experience in the comments. If this story resonates with you, please leave a like, subscribe to our CH.